pit lane, Mike. Steyn has the field, and over to you for the start.
All right, so it's Danny Steyn at the front with Joe Moser on the outside as they come down the front stretch here. And let's see if we can get the green flag and go racing again here at Road America. Green flag is in the air, and we are underway with our STL Championship race. And getting a great jump was Joe Moser, and he now has the lead on Danny Steyn as they go down into turn one.
All right, and as they come down, Steyn, we have a car that spun off along the wall. That is the number 27 car. Spins off, might have gotten tapped on the front straight. He goes off driver's left. So we are yellow there on and Port going down into turn one, but our leaders now coming down the hill underneath the Briggs and Stratton Bridge, and it is Joe Moser, then Denny Steyn, then Max G and Greg Maloy. Side by side, we've got Darren Treacle in the number 70 car with the number 19 of Justin Elder. A little bit further back from there, we then have, looks like Nick Iarossi has gotten around Mike Taylor. Mike Taylor, not a great start. He's fallen back now into ninth position as our leaders come down the hill and over towards the
It's Joe Moser by about, a good 5 car lengths over Danny Steyn. And Danny Steyn being followed very closely by Max G. And a couple of car lengths back to Greg Maloy. Darren Treacle, also a couple of car lengths as they go under the Corvette Bridge, Greg, and over to you.
All right, as we pick up our leaders now, as they make their way through turn 7 and start to run down the hurry downs over towards turn 8, Joe Moser has opened up almost a 10 car length lead over Danny Steyn. Max G all over the back of the number 9 Mazda as that Honda Prelude is really pushing Steyn's pace here as they now come under the Speedville Bridge and head into the carousel for the very first time. And we're trying to get a look on that wreck that we had on the front straight as cars got together. Looks like Bob Beatty might have come over just a little bit right in front of Taz Harvey's Acura Integra and caught that number 95 car as it went around. Or probably not the 95, the 27 car, pardon me.
Yeah, Brian Laughlin.
Brian Laughlin as he went around as Joe Moser now makes his way down through the Kettle Bottom into Canada Corner. He's lost a little bit of that advantage that he had over Danny Steyn. The gap now about 4.5 cars as they make their way out of Canada Corner up towards Bill Mitchell Bend. And as they head through Bill Mitchell, Moser once again opening things up just a little bit. Max G right behind Danny Steyn, and about 5 cars back to Greg Maloy in the black number 38 Honda CRX. And number 3 back to Darren Treacle, who's gotten back around. The number 19 of Justin Elder is our leader. Come up the hill, Mike, is back over to you.
All right, so Joe Moser looks like he's going to lead the first lap, and he does.
Get up
He's got
there.
about a second car length lead over Danny Steyn, 1.3 seconds. Max G about 3 car lengths back behind Steyn. Then it's Maloy and Treacle, your top 5 as our leaders go down to 1.
All right, as they now head down towards turn 1, completing lap number 1, it is still Joe Moser in his Pink Motorsport, the orange number 36 Honda CRX. And now as they come down underneath the Briggs and Stratton Bridge around turn 3, it is still about I'd say about a 3 car length separation between our 2 leaders. They now come underneath the Sargento Bridge, and Moser opens things up coming out of turn 3 with that straight line speed. They roll down the hill, Bob. Our leaders will be coming to you.
129 miles an hour in the traps as Joe Moser gets into turn 5, followed by about 10 car lengths by Danny Steyn. Right on Danny Steyn's backside is Max G. Now it is another 10 to 15 car lengths before we see Greg Maloy, and they are under the Corvette Bridge, Greg, through 6 and over to you.
All right, and as they now make their way over towards turn 7, this is the section of course where that better balanced Mazda MX-5 has an advantage over the Honda CRX. This is where Steyn does start to close things down each lap on the Honda CRX with Joe Moser. What we saw during the week in qualifying when Steyn and Moser were driving together in the same place on track, at one point Steyn was trying to draft off of Joe Moser and would actually carry more speed to a corner as we might expect, but then in a straight line Joe Moser could actually break the draft and drive away from Danny Steyn. So these long straightaways here at Road America definitely an advantage for Joe Moser. Now that car that Moser has also has only a 1.6 liter motor in it, and in STL the weight of the cars is determined primarily by the displacement of the motor. And so Moser's Honda, a couple of 100 pounds less than the Mazda of Danny Steyn, and it definitely helps in a straight line here. As our leaders now come up through Bill Mitchell, get on the brakes, much more braking here in 14 than we saw in 8th production just a few moments ago. We actually see some wisps of white smoke from the front tires of both Steyn and Max Ski as they now come onto the Road America straight and over to Mike.
All right, Joe Moser, our race leader from the drop the green flag pretty much. He goes by, and then still about 5, maybe 6 car lengths to Danny Steyn, but Max Ski now about a car length behind Steyn. Then it's Maloy and Treacle. Put Elder and Palfiner in there also as they are closing in on Treacle in that fifth spot. Right?
All right, and as they came down the front straight, heading down towards turn 1, deep to the inside, as if to attempt to pass on Steyn and try and brake a little bit late, got back in line as he realized he hit the proverbial brick wall as he did step out. Now we did have, coming through one, Danny Steyn running very wide on exits, and you may have been watching Max Prelude coming through there, and it might have taken his attention away just a moment there, but he managed to hold on to second position as they come under the Sargento Bridge, around the bend and down the bottom.
As our leaders come into 5, it is a lot closer than last lap. We still have a pretty significant change, or significant lead with Joe Moser, but Max Ski and Danny Steyn are nose to tail as they go under the Corvette Bridge, and that could lead to a new second place run here on the part of Max Ski. Over to you.
All right, as they come through turn 7, Bob, Max Ski was up almost to the quarter panel of Steyn as they came underneath the Corvette Bridge. As they went into turn 6, he dropped back a little bit heavier on the brakes to get back in line. But I'll tell you, Steyn is not running a very tidy race here at this moment. He is dropping wheels into the dirt all over the place on this track. Max Ski is really upsetting him, causing him to drive his mirrors quite a bit as they make their way now out of the carousel and underneath the Henry Bridge. And I think it's just a matter of time for Steyn here. He has not been able to put in those hero laps as he goes all the way to the limit, coming through the kink, the left rear wheel, just about halfway over the edge of the rumble strip. And oh, this is heartbreak. Mike Taylor with a flat left rear tire. His day is done. We'll talk a little bit later about what Michael Taylor has gone through to get here to the runoff, but he has worked his proverbial butt off with problems on the car. He's got a crew here ready to change the rear tire to get him back out on track, but his chances for a national championship seemingly are finished as our leader, Joe Moser, the number 36 King Motorsports CRX, comes through turn 14, starts to make his way up the Road America straight and back over the line.
All right, the 13 car of Nick Iarossi was on pit road. He pulled it in the back. His day is done. And there goes Moser, Steyn now 1.3 seconds back as he's picked up a 10 on Moser. Max Ski still right there, about 2 car lengths back behind Steyn. Maloy, Treacle, now Palfiner up to 6th. That's Justin Elder back to 7th, correct?
All right, and both Danny Steyn and Max Ski run wide on the exit of 1. Max Ski popping over the curb over at the apex of 1, really upsets the rear end of that car, but he gets it back down on the ground, gets it in line. Our leaders now, as they round turn 3, they're coming underneath the Sargento Bridge, and Joe Moser continues to open things up on Danny Steyn as they now round the bend, Bob. They should be coming into your view just about now.
Looking at him at 129 miles an hour, Joe Moser coming through. Danny Steyn seems to be hanging in there, but no real change as far as first and second place in distance-wise. Max Ski falling off a little bit of the pace as he compresses down into turn 6, but still about 2 car lengths behind Danny Steyn. And they're over to you, Greg.
All right, as they make their way now up underneath the Corvette Bridge and through turn 7, we'll see if he can make up a little bit of ground as Joe Moser now rounds turn 8, heads towards the Speedville Bridge. Max Ski about the 2 car lengths off of the back of the number 9 Adept Mazda MX-5, and as they now make their way underneath the Speedville Bridge into the carousel, Max Ski continues to fall back. He may have shot his shot with those first couple laps. Of course, the Honda Prelude with the 2-liter engine sitting out over the front axles. The front axles have to do all the work in that Honda Prelude. Really, he has to work the front tires quite a bit more than Danny Steyn does. in his Mazda MX-5. Coming now down into Canada corner, hard under braking. That Honda CRX getting very light in the rear. Now, of course, with STL, the drivers can run an alternate brake package. They can go with much larger front rotors and alternate front disc brakes as well, which makes stopping the Honda CRX quite a bit easier than if you're using the stock brakes. But Joe Moser, no problems there. He knows how that Honda CRX handles. He ran an ITA Honda CRX for many, many years with his father. They're coming on the front straight. Over to you now, Mike.
All right, as Moser goes by, he turns fast lap 232.274, Steyn at 232.8. So Moser opening it up just a little bit. Max Key at 233.7. He has dropped off a lot now from Danny Steyn this last lap.
All right, so we watch now Danny Steyn, though, running all the way into the dirt, uses all the gator teeth and more on the exit of turn 1. He gives up maybe a car length to Max Key, who is not making up as much ground as I'm sure he'd like. They come down underneath the Stratton Bridge and make their way towards turn 3. They come underneath the Sargento Bridge now on their way, making their way down towards turn 5 and over to Bob.
As our leaders are coming through, it is once again Joe Moser all the way. Looks like he's put a couple of more car lengths on Danny Steyn, as the Max Key is still about 10 car lengths back behind Gee. But we're seeing the car number 38, Greg Maloy, actually making up some time on Max Key at this point in time as they go onto the Corvette Bridge. And over to you, Greg.
All right, Bob, we're going to pick up. We've got another battle coming to you right now. Taz Harvey, the number 28 of Bob Beatty.
Yep, as they go by, Harvey, of course, in the lead at this point, about 2 car lengths back to Beatty, and as they go under the Corvette Bridge, no real change there as well.
All right, again, this is the battle for ninth here in STL. Taz Harvey with what could have been a disastrous pace lap as he fought to get the car restarted. The rest of the pack actually waited for him down at turn 5 to get that car back up and running so that he wouldn't end up at the rear of the pack. He's got the Honda Civic of Bob Beatty, and I believe that's a 2011 Honda Civic. One of the larger cars here in STL, but also one of the most aerodynamic cars. And they are now making their way through the carousel, and as they come underneath the Henry Bridge, the Acura Integra starting to move away just a bit from that Honda Civic. So we'll jump back over. We'll take a look at our leaders now, who should be making their way over towards turn 14. And indeed they are. Our leader, Joe Moser, now coming onto the Road America straight, Mike, coming up the hill and back over the field.
All right, Joe Moser, him and Danny Steyn the last 2 laps have traded the fastest lap of the race. Let's see if either one can set it this time. Moser dropped at 232.115. Danny Steyn at 233, so it's now 3.7 second advantage for Moser. Max Key still hanging in there. He picked up a 10th on Steyn, but it's Maloy and Treacle rounding out your top 5.
All right, and I guess Danny Steyn once again goes very wide on the exit of turn number 1, drops some wheels into the dirt. He's just trying to straighten that corner out as much as possible, lessen as much wear on the tires and carry as much speed down through the corner as he can. Just notice that Joe Moser, with that 232.115, resets the track record in STL. He set it earlier this year at the June Sprint with a 232.447. So Moser not only has the lead, but he has the new track record here as our leaders make their way down to turn 5. Bob.
Moser in that track record leading pace is continuing to put distance between himself and Danny Steyn. Danny Steyn now about 30 car lengths back behind Moser. It is about 10 car lengths back behind Danny Steyn and Max Key. And Greg Maloy still doing well, hanging in with Gee as his number 38 car goes under the Corvette Bridge. Over to 6 and over to you.
All right, well, we have a car that is off over at the kink. That is, I believe, we're going to check here. I thought it was the 75. It's one of our Honda CRXs that has gone off. It is not Joe Moser. That is for sure. Trying to get the number on it. I believe it is the 75 of Kendall Jones. That has gone off at the kink, and he's in the wall over drivers right. We're going to send some safety equipment over there as our leaders now encountering yellow flags as they come out of the carousel. As again, that is the policy that we have here at Road America. We do concede a an area with caution with another caution. So our leaders now make their way through the incident and around. Looks like we just had the number
133, right?
Yeah.
I was just about to say that. Just finished up down here at 5 and went off the track, and his day is done as well.
That's Alan. Yeah.
Go ahead, that's Alan Stubblefield.
Yeah, so his day is now done as Joe Moser makes his way through Bill Mitchell into turn number 14 and onto the Road America Straight. Again, we do have some safety teams responding over by the kink for the number 75 car. Our leader coming to you down.
All right, so Joe Moser, now we've got 8 laps to go. Next time he crosses the line, it will be 7. He's back at 7 right now as he turns to 2:32.384. Steyn 2:33.6. It's 4.9 seconds. Steyn is not going to catch Moser the way he's going. He's got to pick it up. Indy, Maloy, and Treacle still holding on to your top 5.
Okay, we got another car coming off at turn 5. That's car number 11.
All right, so it looks like the 11 car is now done, but let's get this great battle that we've been watching. It's the 8 of Taz Harvey, the number 5 of Joe Smith. They're coming up the Road America Straight right now as we're going to a full course auction. And
lap shootout. Green flag is in the air, and Moser is in the gas. And let's see, does Danny Steyn have anything for him this time? The 38 car, Greg Maloy, well, he is trying to make a move, and so is Max G as they go 3 wide with Danny Steyn down the front stretch.
all right, and as they come down into turn 1, Mike, it is still Joe Moser. Danny Steyn manages to hold on to the position, but side by side going through turn 1. We've got Greg Maloy to the outside. We've got the prelude of Max G to the inside. We have a new third-place runner. It's Greg Maloy in the black number 36 Honda CRX. Then Taz Harvey in the 8 car, right back behind them on track, but I believe he is further back in the field. We've got Marcus Bento in his number 16 Toyota Celica. He goes off wide, coming out of turn 3 as our leaders come down the hill, Bob, and over to you.
As we're looking at 126 miles an hour for Joe Moser as he comes through the trap. He's about 4 car lengths ahead of Danny Steyn, but it's car number 38, Greg Maloy, and then Max G as they go under the bridge. And you had mentioned the 8 of Taz Harvey. He's right up there as well. So they're coming over to you, Greg.
Yeah, I saw Taz was the lap down, and he is not. So Taz Harvey with a great restart. He is now your 5th place running driver. Back behind him, about 4 car lengths, is the number 40 car. That is Dave Palfinier. Palfinier had some great runs at the 65th consecutive Juice Sprints earlier this year. We also saw him on a number of stops on the Super Tour with very good runs. He is just a little bit off our lead pack, and now coming through the carousel, dialing in lots of opposite lots. The number 5 car of Joe Smith. Remember, he had gotten together right before we went to the full course caution with Taz Harvey, and that left, probably that right rear, might be giving him some issues as he makes his way through. But now our leaders coming down into Canada Corner, and as they do, under braking, it is Joe Moser, and side by side with Danny Steyn. Danny Steyn tries to make a move down the inside underneath Joe Moser. Moser takes the traditional line, and as he comes through, he maintains the lead as they come up through Bill Mitchell. As they do, Max G retakes the 3rd spot, getting around Greg Malloy. That slightly larger displacement.
Come on,
A little bit more grunt coming out of that slow Canada Corner.
Get up
and so we have a new 3rd place runner as they start to make their way up the hill, Mike, and over towards the
All right, so Joe Moser getting the pressure from Danny Steyn this time around. I guess Steyn's tired of messing around. They go across the line, 7/10 of a second advantage for Moser. Max G in 3rd. Greg Maloy 4th. Taz Harvey up to 5th. Darren Treacle back to 6th. And then it's Palfinier, Elder, Beatty, and Joe Smith, your top 10, right?
All right, our leaders now come around turn number 1, start to make their way down underneath the Stratton Bridge. And once again, Danny Steyn using every last inch of pavement that he can, and then a little bit more as they round turn 3. But once again, side by side, going into turn 3, we've got Greg Maloy, the black number 38 Honda CRX. We've got Max G in the number 22 Honda Prelude. Max G gives up the position as Maloy makes an outside pass, goes all the way around the rim of turn number 3. He takes over 3rd, Bob. Their leaders come to you.
As they come down through the little straight here, it is compression on between Joe Moser and Danny Steyn down to about 5 car lengths. It's about 10 back to car number 38, Greg Maloy, Max G, and then Taz Harvey, all moving forward as they go under the Corvette bridge. And over to you, Greg.
All right, and as they come in to say, oh, we've got contact between Taz Harvey and Max G, setting up for turn number 7. Now, Taz Harvey had gotten around Max G under braking going into turn number 5. They pulled back up side by side, coming underneath the Corvette bridge as Taz Harvey was setting up for the right-hand turn number 7. He had Max G on his quarter panel. They get together, but both drivers do continue now. Harvey has a little bit of damage on his left front. As our leaders, though, Joe Moser, Danny Steyn, make their way out of the carousel and head underneath the Henry Bridge into the kink. As they do, Joe Moser starting to open up a gap once again, as he did at the start of the race. And he now has a 4-car length lead over Danny Steyn as they now come down into Canada corner. And hard on the brakes into Canada, they come on through. The gap is now 3 as Steyn makes up a little bit of ground under braking. They start to roll up the hill through Bill Mitchell, and as they do, Greg Maloy has cemented his position in 3rd as Taz Harvey and Max G battled out for 4th. Our leaders coming onto the Road America straight, Mike, and back over to you.
All right, so Joe Moser, Danny Steyn, that's still a few car lengths separating them, but the heat is on for 3rd, 4th, and back in 5th as our race leaders come down the front stretch. And let's see, it was 7/10. It's now 9/10 of a second. Steyn turns his fastest lap time, but not good enough. Maloy now in 3rd, Harvey 4th, move Max G back to 5th as they are still battling now. And it looks like Maloy's pulling away from Harvey just a little bit, but that's how it's looking going down to 1.
All right, and hard to watch. It's getting into that battle right now for 4th is Darren Treacle. He's starting to close things in on the Integra of Harvey and the Prelude of G. We'll have to keep watching that as our leaders now coming under the Sargento Bridge. Bob, we're going to jump to that battle right now for 4th between Harvey and G. They are coming under the Sargento Bridge. It is going to turn into a 4-car battle with Darren Treacle and Dave Paulson here, the number 70 Honda Civic, the number 40 Mazda Miata now coming down the hill and over towards you.
Yep, it is a 3-car run, and with the 4th car coming into the tail end of it. But as we look at Taz Harvey and then with Max G and Darren Treacle, those guys are about 2 car lengths apart as they compress into 6 down to 1 car length. And over to you, Greg.
All right, as they make their way out of turn number 7 and make their way now down through the Hurry Downs, it is Taz Harvey opening up a car length and a half gap back to Max G in his number 22 Honda Prelude. We jump and take a quick look at our leaders, Joe Moser, Danny Steyn. Moser continuing to open things up. Now, this is the section of the track where Steyn definitely has the advantage. We can see where Joe Moser definitely running almost around the center of that carousel, almost all the way around. He's sawing at the wheel, the front wheels of that car, that Honda CRX, doing a lot of work. But our top 3 cars starting to separate themselves out from Taz Harvey, from Max G, and now Darren Treacle, who finished in the top 5 at Daytona at the 2015 National Championship runoff. They now all are starting to make their way down to the Canada corner. Max G coming side by side with Taz Harvey. Max G to the inside, driver's right. He takes over the position as he runs wide, drops the wheel, but he manages to cover Taz Harvey. He is your new 4th place runner as our top 3 drivers start to walk away. Darren Treacle now in that fight for 4th. He's right on the bumper of Taz Harvey. They come around to turn 14 onto the Road America straight, Mike, and back over to you.
All right, so it's Joe Moser, Steyn, Maloy, Harvey, and G. That was the last time by the start-finish line. There goes Moser. Steyn, again, loses another half a second to Moser. Greg Maloy now 3.3 back. Max G gets around Harvey, put him 2.3 back behind Maloy. Then it's going to be Darren Treacle, Palfrey, and Beebe. They're fighting for that spot as Palfrey is falling off from Darren Treacle on that last lap.
All right, Mike, as they come down into turn 1, Darren Treacle makes his attention known very early, comes down the inside. For a moment, looked as though he was going to be able to get both Max G and Taz Harvey under braking coming through turn 1. Could not get past Taz Harvey, but Darren Treacle in the black number 70 Treacle Insurance Honda Civic is your new 6th place runner. Is your new 5th place runner. Move Max G back into 6th as they now make their way underneath the Sargento Bridge, and they will be coming down over towards Bob just about now.
As Harvey, Max D, and Treacle all nose to tail as they come under the bridge in the Corvette Bridge. And that's going to be an interesting race to watch as we continue throughout the next couple of laps here. Greg, over to you, buddy.
All right. Now, also coming down into turn 5, we've been watching this. Jaden Lander, John Elder going down side by side into turn 5, just as Michael Taylor, who qualified quite a bit higher up in the order than those drivers in qualifying, trying to make their way through. You know, he's trying to make his way through, trying to get himself unlapped, but he's finding himself right in the middle of that fight. Those drivers don't know that he's a lap down at this point, and so it's going to be real tough for Mike Taylor, I think, at this point to make a lot of advancement. As our leaders, though, make their way out of the carousel, and as they do, they are now heading down towards Canada Corner, but it is a great battle here in STL as Danny Steyn starting to make up ground on our leader, Joe Moser. That as they come through Canada now, they are only about a half a car width apart, making their way up through Bill Mitchell here, and as they do, it is a great battle. Actually, Mike, let's jump back to that battle between Harvey, Treacle, and Guy. They are now coming through Bill Mitchell as they now come into 14 under braking. So we've got Taz Harvey. He is in 5th, Treacle in 6th. Harvey in 4th, Treacle in 5th, Guy in 5th as they now come over the line and back over towards you.
All right, Joe Moser takes the white flag as we are on the last lap. Danny Steyn 2nd. Maloy goes by in 3rd. Now it looks like Taz Harvey and Darren Treacle are going to be battling for that 4th spot. Max D falls off just a couple car lengths as they all go down into 1.
All right, we had a bit of a wreck here over at turn 14. The Beatty car, Bob Beatty in the number 28 Honda Civic, he started to lose the rear end of the car coming through turn 14. The number 5 of Joe Smith collected him. Beatty now taking to the pit lane. It looks like Smith is going to try and continue. As our leaders now, Joe Moser, Danny Steyn coming under the Sargento Bridge and into your view.
As our overall leader, Joe Moser, comes in, Danny Steyn compresses down. They compress down just a little bit. Steyn gets a little loose coming out of 5 as they try to catch Moser, but doesn't look like he has anything for Moser at this particular point in time. We still have 10 turns to play with, so Greg, take them on home.
All right, well, let's jump back a little bit further to 4th of the battle now for 4th with Taz Harvey and Darren Treacle. They are nose to tail. They come up under the Corvette Bridge through turn 6. They have both worked their way clear of Max D, who is sitting now back in 6th position. Those two drivers coming hard under the braking into turn number 8. Look for a second as though Treacle was going to make a last-second run to come underneath the white Integra of Taz Harvey. He did not get it done. Harvey with a very wide set coming into the carousel. As he does, he then comes down over right to driver's right, all the way up against the grass. And as they come out of the carousel, he opens things up now to a 3-car length lead over Darren Treacle. But Treacle in that Honda Civic, very aero-friendly as they make their way through the kink. Now Treacle using every last bit of patience. He is now only 2 car lengths back from Taz Harvey. Our leaders, though, both Joe Moser and the Mazda MX-5 of Danny Steyn, they come through Canada. They are starting to make their way up through Bill Mitchell. Moser now with a 4-car length lead over Danny Steyn, comes through turn 14 onto the Road America straight. Mike, and over to you for the finish.
All right, so Joe Moser has been pretty much the class of this field here this morning. Takes his STL car down the front stretch. He's approaching the start-finish line. He crosses it with a checkered flag. He wins. Danny Steyn comes in second, 2.1 seconds back. And it looks like Greg Maloy is going to be our 3rd place finisher in that 38 STL car.